maybe he would be quite influential and quite a powerful guy, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people wouldn't want to cross swords with him. It would be that kind of situation, would it?
And the first time I think I really noticed about this guy why he could become the general manager. I think he did something really good. I mean, in 2004, it's cutting costs. Yeah, he sacked about more than 200 staffs. Most of them are very high salary, and they are very experienced. So people were saying that the quality of all the TVB dramas and everything was going down all the way until now. And also about, I think in the recent years, even like myradio's, the head of myradio's, like Mr. Siu, and the boss of myradio, Mr. Siu. Also, and many internet fans give TVB a nickname called CCTVB. Because the TVB is like the CCTV in China. The news is no longer independent, and also Stephen Chan have a scandal about one of the female star, and she was in one of the band called Twins in Hong Kong, and Miss Chung, and he used his power to put Miss Chung in the part of the news. So it means that the management in TVB can interrupt the independency of the news. So everything comes together. I could tell you is basically is the culture in TVB is absolutely crap.
So from your experience of working there, there was you could sense there was some dirty goings on within TVB, was it?
All the way, but people would not say that in mouth because they got the white horror inside. The people, you can't say they don't blame the TV. You can hear a lot of complaints when people eating in the canteen. But I think most of the thing is to be bureaucracy, and people would just really scared to lose their jobs. So the people, even they face a lot of unfair things inside, they don't have the guts to tell what is going on. But within TVB, the staff system, they got a very perfect system that if you have any complaints, you can tell your supervisor, or they have independent investigation sections for every illegal things or unfair things. But it depends on who is taking the power.
Sure.
Yeah.
And having talked to some other Chinese people about it, there's a bit more to the story in terms of exactly how what went on and so on. Am I right in saying that his assistant was also his lover? Is that right? And
so-called lovers.
Is that right? They had it was a relationship, and they were gay. Is that right?
There's no proof, but people are suspecting that they are lovers.
Okay, because that's interesting. Because in the that kind of stuff wasn't mentioned at all actually in the English newspapers. Actually, I don't know whether they just thought it wasn't relevant, or whether the fact that in terms of the media laws, they didn't want to get into the mentioning the fact that
because Stephen Chan never admitted he's gay.
Okay.
And you can't say he's gay
because
if you do believe and say that firmly that he's gay, then you'll be charged as libel.
You could be, yeah.
It could be, yeah.
Right. That's interesting, but the Chinese newspapers are openly sort of saying that is the case, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But it looks like, because obviously this guy, Stephen Chan, he must have been quite a clever guy. I mean, it's interesting quite to see how a guy like that can get into a situation like that, actually. And, but again, obviously his assistant, who was his lover, was obviously a younger guy and perhaps got him, allegedly might have, it's interesting quite how his mind would, get involved in what was going on allegedly, but that's I mean it's quite a mess that what he's got himself into, isn't it? For sure. I mean, regardless of what happens at the court case, I think.
I think Stephen Chan is because he's too famous and he did something really bad for the musical TV programs because he had a very bad relationship with the big four records company. So that's why most of the singer, if they sign a contract with TVB, they cannot have any interviews with any other TV media.
Or show up in front of other TV medias.
But everybody was scared of TVB because they are too big, and it's because they monopolized the whole Hong Kong market. And I think back into the talk about the TV in Hong Kong, you have to talk about the system. Why there's only TVB and ATV? There are only two TV companies monopolized the free TV market, and also TVB was like monopolized 90% of the audience.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more than that.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So
Yes,
when they control everything.
Yeah, I mean, it seems TVB, wield far too much power actually in Hong Kong. And I agree with what you said earlier about in terms of the way they censor the news. There's been quite a few incidents. Anyone who watches the news closely, and certainly in terms of the English news, I think the English news and Chinese news might be a bit different, but certainly the English news of the TVB is much more censored, and that ATV they tend to cover more stories, especially to do with the democracy movement and so on.
Yeah.
And I mean that's but unfortunately it's it always amazes me why a greater proportion of people watch TVB. And when they perhaps they could be watching cable news or ATV or whatever.
It's like a habit.
It's habit, isn't it?
It's like a habit.
It's habit, isn't it?
When you turn on the TV channel 1, or not channel 1, I mean what you so-called number 1 channel, and the TV is always TVB.
Yeah.
Number 1 and number 2 is ATV. 3 is TVB Pearl, and then 4 is ATV World. It's like a well, I can't say it's a setup, but it's usual. It's already like a trend. Okay. But nowadays, I think that I can't say it's the influences start to fade out, but other medias like cables. Cable TV, like Now TV.
Now TV News, isn't it?
Right,
they have
right.
24, don't they?
Right. They start to before the high definitions channels launch from TVB and ATV. They already have. I mean, Now and cable news already have 24 hours of news report. After that, the TVB followed. Okay,